Out this. Chargers. And then, is it filming?
Yes.
My name's Marlon Barnes. I served in the Army, regular Army for 6 months, the Utah National Guard for 5.5 years.
My name is James Harbison Komish. I was a colonel in the United States Army, full colonel. I participated in 12 major military operations, starting with the Cold War. I was there in Germany at the peak of the Cold War, we like to say.
Stanford D. Russin. We've talked about my rank. I was in the infantry.
Well, I grew up in the military as a dependent. My father served 31 years, so I always had an interest in the military.
Okay, for your information, at that time we were in the middle of a war and everybody my age was drafted. I had missed going earlier because I was on a mission. That's why I joined the Army.
I think it really makes you so you have some discipline in your life. And what we did in there, you know, some of the things we're asked to do now seem kind of minimal to what we were asked to do in the regular Army. I remember my instructors, my drill sergeant at Fort Ord, where I went through basic training, was Sergeant Gardner. My lieutenant that was over me was Lieutenant Sasai. And the captain, I can't remember the captain of our company. I think it was Captain Roberts.
Here is me, and here's 50 caliber bullets going over. And they told us they were going to be there. Just don't get up or you might catch one of them.
Well, in boot camp, the main thing that they're trying to do is condition you. When they give you a command, you better do it. You don't even stop and think about it. Because the reason for that, I guess, if you ever went into real combat and they told you to take the hill or go over the hill, you don't say, well, maybe I will, maybe I won't. If you don't do the things that they ask you, there's some real penalties.
Well, I faced a lot of challenges, a lot of obstacles. I guess just with sheer determination and willpower, knowing that I could rise above that challenge or that obstacle or those complications in my life, that I'd be able to get through it and rise above it.
There again, I guess I would say, if I wasn't, I brought it on myself. I would be out here on my own, alone, away from the crowd, exploring and walking along. Suddenly, in the high grass, I dropped. I had fallen into one of the tunnels that the Japanese had been digging. But I come out alive.
Well, the only time I had any frightening experience at all was when we had to crawl about 100 yards with them shooting machine guns about 3 feet over our head. You didn't want to raise up. And every fifth shot was a tracer. That means so you can see it. It's like it's on fire. And they're about like that, and you're down on the ground. You raise up, that might be the end of it. It would be the end of it.
The attitude of the guys in the military and out in the world were not what I was used to. My little school in Lehi, Utah, did not cover what's going on. Well, that depended on the situation. Sometimes out in combat, we were short on a lot of things. Sometimes the food wasn't a well-rounded diet because it wasn't available. Yes, we were out, but one thing I can say is the Army The military does the very best they can.
All during bayonet training one time, I came a little bit close to getting stabbed by somebody at the side of me. That's the closest I came to being injured.
And I think as you overcome one obstacle in life, it gives you greater confidence that you're going to be able to overcome the next, even though it may be a higher obstacle you're facing or a greater problem. It's kind of like, well, I've been through things before, and I've gone through some pretty tough stuff. I managed to get through that. Surely I can get through this again. You know, and then you move on from there.
As a message clerk, what we did, we would take an English writing, a message written in English. We knew that if we passed it to another unit by the regular radio means, that our enemy would know exactly what we were saying. So we put that message into a coded message. It was words, or not even words at all, or it was words that had no meaning. We had a little machine that would do it. We put it in, and what came out was a whole bunch of letters, but no words, no meaning. Nobody could read it. When the people we sent it to received it, they'd run it through their machine and it'd turn them back into English.
One other funny experience to me, we had a guy by the name of Bouchel. He looked a lot like Jerry Lewis, but you guys are all too young to remember Jerry Lewis. But he looked a little taller than Jerry Lewis, and he couldn't keep his hands out of his pockets. And every time he had his hands in his pockets, the sergeant would say, "Give me 50 push-ups." And when he got done, he stood up and stood at attention, and Sergeant Gardner said to him, "And how many times have you had your hands in your pockets today, Bouchel?" "Several, sir, several." He was doing push-ups all day long when we were out there.
Well, I learned discipline. I learned to be patient. We were living in conditions where the ordinary habits of other men kind of trample on your freedom. If your air that you're going to breathe is blue with smoke, you can't do anything about it but breathe it. And if they're going to talk in foul language, you have to live with it. So I guess, yes. And also, at that age of life, we learn very well that there's a consequence to everything you do.
Oh boy, in many, many ways. I think most significantly by the people that I came to know over the years in various different countries and around the world. I developed a close connection to lots of soldiers, their family members, but also the people that we served in whatever country we were in. So I think it helped me be more humane, I think, with a better understanding of people and their cultures and differences, having greater respect and appreciation for them and their differences.
It was just such a great experience, and the feeling of going home. I wanted that to last as long as it could. But I'm glad I served, and it was a great experience, and I'm just proud to have been of service.